Hey, everybody, May 11th, 2025. First off, of course, happy Mother's Day to all those people out there. We all have moms, right? Because we're here. Make sure you recognize them. Happy Mother's Day. I have two daughters who have kids. I actually have another daughter who's pregnant, and it's all good. So happy Mother's Day, everybody. Let's get it on. Okay. Are we good to go? Are we good to go, Spence? All right, here we go. All right, let's get it on. All right, so folks, as you can see, we're following a flow here, and boy, my mic, my video is really acting weird. I'll just turn it off for now. And we're always looking at the New York Stock Exchange Index daily first. We had this level. Gosh, it's kind of funny because last week we were talking about the 19,578 level. Well, folks, it's still in play. Right. So that's our level. That's our level. And that's our line in the sand. And I think the theme this week is we are there. What do? I go to the next slide, and there's the pattern we talked about last week. It climbed up a wall of worry. And folks, 57.15, 57.64, that's major resistance on the S&P. If we're going to go to new highs, this is the level we need to be watching. And it's funny, it's taken so long after that powerful move up. Gosh, folks, we've been just kind of climbing a wall of worry. What I want us to watch is from this low right here, no swing low has been broken, folks. So here's a pullback. Here's a pullback. Here's a pullback. This swing low is broken, but you can see that's a correction. This is pretty much about the same. So what am I trying to say? Every move higher has a pullback, but the lows have been higher. That's bullish, folks. Okay, just take a look here. Here was a plunging low. If you guys remember, this low was actually the low that equaled a little bit more than what we went through in the 2009 great financial crisis. So just put that in mind. So here's the low. We have a pullback. What happens? It doesn't break this low. We have another pullback. It doesn't break this low. We have another pullback. Kind of. But it really doesn't, folks. And so we need one or two of these swing lows to break for the bears. And if you're a bull, it just seems to keep wanting to march higher. And then the last thing that we talked about last week, this is a target zone higher that has never been hit. But as far as we go with the S&P, folks, we're there. We are there at a sell pattern. And so are we there at the NASDAQ. Look at that, folks. It's perfect. It's perfect. So this is the level where if you want to try to short this market again, this is our first opportunity, believe it or not, since mid-April, almost a month ago, that you have it. And we hit it on Friday. We are going to take a look at the futures at the end of this to see if they've kept over this level. But right now, these are the levels, folks, and this is where we have to be. Joe says hi. I say, Joe, hi. Thanks for joining us, man. And happy Mother's Day to your mother, wherever she may be. Look at the Dow Jones, folks. Bam. Same target we were talking about last week. It's being hit. Very, very important levels. We're at them right now. What else? Folks, look at that. Went right down to the key level we were talking about on the XLP NYA. And again, we'll just step back a little bit. XLP is staples. NYA is the New York Stock Exchange Index daily. And so what that means is, folks, it's risk on or risk off. What are the institutions thinking? And so when this ratio starts going up, it means staples are stronger, which means they're a little bit risk off. When this ratio is going down, it means the overall market is stronger than the staples, XLP. And so it's more of a risk on mindset. So what we're looking for is we're looking for key inflection points on this ratio to help us time or see other key inflection points on the equities. So now you can understand why I'm telling us we are there now, because we are at the same measured move on this ratio. We're banging into a significant confluence of levels, and we're also finishing sell patterns over on the equities. We're here. We'll probably know where we're at by Monday or Tuesday. If you're a bear, you short here. You stop yourself out, obviously. If you're a bull, you want Monday or Tuesday to gap and go over this level. but we are there at significant resistance in the market. I keep watching this, folks. I remember last week we talked about the yen. The big thing about the yen was it had done a 3 move up and it started back down. Well, it's not doing that anymore, folks, right? So you can see I've started drawing up a bullish trend channel in those light blue lines. I live by the target, folks. That measured move down at about 137.37, 136.57 is still the main target. And obviously about 134.30s to 134.60s is another area. Again, our thesis is this is a big top on the yen, or excuse me, on the dollar versus yen. This is a big low for the yen. This market going down means the yen's getting stronger, just so you know. As you can see, the US dollar gets weaker, it goes down. So it's a US dollar versus yen, just to make sure I'm not confusing anybody. But I really like this level. Again, I like this measured move. We work on those all the time. But the yen is not going down, is it, folks? It's continually creeping a wall of worry, which, oh, by the way, the market is. So again, are we going to roll over? We're going to roll over and attack this target here. That's why I'm watching the yen so closely. The other thing we've been watching, again, we've talked about this for the past couple weeks, is the yen versus the financials. We showed a chart the other day. When we have support on this ratio, the XLF sells off. Why is that important? Because the banks lead us up and the banks lead us down. So if we're going to find support on this ratio, then the banks should find resistance, or the financials, and start back down. As you can see, it looks like we finished a flat correction, and now we have a very, very, very important target here, a little bit lower. Again, this market isn't going any higher. This market isn't going any lower without financial participation, XLF. So keep an eye on that ratio, folks. That's a big one. Michael, what's up? Let's see what you got going on. Pfizer. Man, you're all over Pfizer, Michael, I know. Actually, I took a look at it for you, I think, didn't I? I can take a look at it real quickly. But we are getting ready. We're doing some steaks for the wife tonight for Mother's Day. So I don't want to be too long. But let's keep an eye on this one, folks, right? Because financials are everything. They really are. They still are. I think they always will be. Again, you've seen this chart, folks. We had the rate announcement. I didn't even know there was a Fed announcement on Wednesday. In fact, on the research channel here with JC and all the people, I'm like, is there an announcement today? Yeah, kind of an important one, right? But they didn't raise rates, stagflation. I don't know what any of this stuff means. All I know is we want bonds to go down here, folks. We're really looking at about 101 to 103 on the long bond. This is a continuous future, so it might be a little bit different than the current month, but this is a massive level. I want to take profit on my TBT and go long TLT at this level. So I really would like it to go down. We're still kind of in no man's land as far as bonds and the rates go. But again, I'm going to keep putting this chart up here unless we really, really start massively higher. But this is a big one, folks. And what I want to put a pin in, because we're going to be looking at it here in a second, is it's a concept called nested patterns. Hello, I'm over here. By the way, I'm messing with my camera. I've got an auto camera and it doesn't want to work. Anyway, they're called nested patterns. And so what you can see here, this blue, that's a butterfly. These are extension patterns. And so what we find at major highs and major low is through different time frames, different patterns, and I call them nested. They're all fractals. That's when you know you have a really important level. Again, folks, it could gap over this and be gone. Interest rates will explode. Don't see that happening. But again, it's just the level. But when we get all of these things lining up, really got to pay attention. So there we are on the bonds. We talked about XLF. We also talked about that XLF yen. Well, you can see, folks, we just got a little bit higher. Basically, $50 to $51 should, air quote, should be massive resistance for XLF. Big time, massive resistance. You can see we hit the 786 there at 50.28, backed off a little bit. But again, I like the projection level. And so you can see about 50, let's just call it 50-50. Isn't that kind of funny? 50-50 bet. Around 50-50, that's where the projection comes in. So anywhere between $50 and $51, I'm expecting significant resistance for XLF. If we gap and go above that level, well, folks, the market should follow, right? We're at the level, folks. It's either going to start selling off or not. We've talked about Ford. Remember that? I can't believe it. Check her out. So I think this was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We talked about Ford, and we were looking for it. What I didn't talk about, quite frankly, because honestly, I missed it, was there's a beautiful 3 drives to a bottom pattern forming, and check it out. Man, was that nice. Isn't that nice? Look at that. So here's drive 1. Here's drive 2. Here's drive 3, right on the 786 and the ABCD. You see that? But more importantly, the drives were what? They were synchronous in time. And off we go. So this is a pretty good one, folks. What I'm looking at, because we're down here so level, I mean, let's be honest, it's $10.50. The breakout with this level is at 12. So I'm going to give it $1.50 or so. If we're correct, we should be up above 26 in 4, 5, 6, 7 months. So we have our line in the sand. So I'm going to let this one go a little bit, but I am looking to get long Ford, folks. It hit the pattern perfectly, and this was a big, strong move. So I'm looking to get long Ford. All right. I'm not there yet, but beautiful buy pattern came in on Ford at $8. Okay. I'm bringing up this coffee chart because I just want to show you project, extend, retrace, and how powerful it is. And quite frankly, I don't know, coffee prices might start going down. So let's take a look at what's going on. I don't want to confuse you. First off, let's take a look at time. These are static time counts. They work great. Oftentimes they don't. Most of the time, we work with time. It's both contracting and expanding at the same time. But you can have these static time counts that work really well. In this case, it looks pretty good. So the first thing we're going to talk about is time. Here's our start right here. So we go over to this first top, and then bam, we're exactly at the top where it started going down. Hey, Wavy, McFly, by the way, that's a great name. Utilities, I'll take a quick look if I don't run out of time. I got a hard stop today at 4:45 with the bride. Man, I've been getting these steaks ready all day. It's going to be really good. I'm really stoked. But yeah, if not, shoot me an email. All right, and I'm going to be on travel this week, so it might be a little bit tough, but I'll definitely get to it tomorrow. And I can understand why you want to talk about that, mostly because of the relationship to rates, right? So cool. So remember, time looks really good for coffee. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do projections. And so I'm taking this all-time low here, down here, okay? And I'm projecting up, down, this blue, and here we are. Oh, sorry about that. And here we are, 1.27 AB equals CD, nails it exactly. So we project. Then I do this orange projection. I'm still in the P, project. Boom, 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 1.618 price projection. See how we're building this? Now we do what? We do extensions. So I do an extension off of here. Square root of 2, 1.4142, that one right here. I do an extension off of this. A perfect 1.618 price extension. Perfect. Hits it nice. Oh, sorry, guys. I keep clicking my mouse. And then I use this extension point here, and that's an exact 2.618 extension. So now I have 2 projections, 3 extensions. So now I have 5 reasons, but I really don't have a retracement level, do I? No, I don't. If I did, it'd be, way up here, over here, right? So, but from my projections and my extensions, it's looking pretty good. So I wanted to show you, it doesn't matter if it's coffee futures, it doesn't matter if it's Blockbuster, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's liquid, it will work. And so now we take a look at, okay, so how far down could this go? Well, look at these dash red lines. In this case, I used the close. I cropped the wick, and I went all the way down to the low, and then I copy paste it, and it's the exact pullback. So we should expect that same pullback, and that's what I'm saying here. and then I did a retracement grid and it lands exactly on the 618. That's the type of trading we want to be doing, or investing, if you will. So I wanted to give you an idea. I don't care, again, if it's an equity, if it's a fixed income, if it's a currency or it's a commodity, we do the same things every day. We project, we extend, we retrace. And so when I was doing this, I was like, I just want to show everybody like why the math works. And that's where this chart comes from. And so all I did here was this blue arrow. This blue arrow is this move right here. Okay. It's this move right here. And I just chose it randomly. I could have chosen this. I could have chosen this. It doesn't matter. They're all harmonically and fractally connected. So when you look at this next chart, that's the blue arrow that I took. So that's that right here. Okay. Then I make my arc. And then we get into the philosophy of sacred geometry. Oneness cannot be divided. That's the whole thing around sacred geometry. A point, a line, a circle. 1, 2, 3, Trinity. I'll stop. Anyway, conceptually, oneness, it can't be split, but it can be what? It can be reproduced. And so I reproduce what? I reproduce a second circle. And now what do we have? We have the intersection of these two circles, folks. That is called the viscous piscus. We've talked about this. I think it was two shows ago. Those vectors, this orange, this green, this black, this gray, those vectors are going to be responsible for all the moves or fractals of those vectors, because this is the seed. This is the seed move. This is the first move high, right? Or it could be this move again, but it's going to take a lot more because why? Well, this is just a small move. So, but what you're seeing here is you're actually seeing the geometrical representation of the square roots of 2, 3, 4, and 5. No kidding. And so what I did over here is I just simply rolled these vectors over here to the vertical for price. And since you're watching this video, you want to be watching it, or you wouldn't be watching it if you weren't interested in it. We can also roll them horizontally and they can become time. Again, all I did was use this vector here. And oh, by the way, I've never done this before either, folks. It's all real time. If you guys are watching this, I'm calling it the way I see it, not trying to BS anybody. So look what happens, folks. So this is the same chart. If you go back and you look at the orange line here, right here, this guy right here, square root of 3. Actually, I think it might be the square root of 4. It's the exact high on coffee futures. I had no idea. I'm being honest. I had no idea, folks, that that was going to be the exact high on coffee futures. I'm blown away as much as you were. But I'm not surprised because these are the seed vectors. And so now from a price perspective, look what we did here. We took this low here. That was the gray move. Isn't that nuts? It's perfect. But then what we can do, if you remember these vectors here, we rolled those vectors horizontally and they're time vectors. So this is black, time, a low. Black and gray, a low, a low. It's pretty crazy, isn't it? And then all I wanted to show you here was, this is the rock hitting the water. This is the low to high, and we make the first arc. And then all I did was I projected it by 1.498, not a random number. It's actually a ratio of the equal octave scale of music, folks. And it comes across and bam, hits the top exactly. Remember, this red rectangle, if you will, that was our target zone. That was our target zone. Bam. Now, can you trade? I imagine you can if you got like a sophisticated computer. But all I'm trying to show you is the harmonics of that initial measured move. Can you trade off these viscous piscus vectors? I don't think so. It's hard. There's slippage. Are you right on the right line? Right. But what they do is when I do this, they reinforce what I'm looking at. Because all of these ratios and all this math, Again, remember, folks, it's all derived from this right here. It's all derived from that. Okay. So net, I think our coffee should be getting cheaper, folks. So I'd put a short on coffee. I'd be out of it above, let's just call it 450. All right. Pretty cool stuff, folks, isn't it? It gets better. So, true story. You guys don't want to hear this, but is this not the coolest picture you've seen in the world? Yeah. 6 Phoenix. By the way, those things weighed 1,008 pounds. It was 6,000 more pounds. What am I trying to say? We probably wouldn't do that. So Joe's asking, Bart, you had some long-term charts that are hitting upper line resistance since inception. How high can we really go? We could go a lot higher, Joe. And with what's coming, there's a potential that we're parabolically exploding, believe it or not. We're not there yet, right? But we could go a lot higher. But I really think we needed another leg down because we were hitting such long-term targets, Joe, right? And remind me, I'm going to go and take a look at the Dow Jones from the all-time low. TradingView does a great job with it, and I can show you this trend line we're banging into. It's very important. So back to this F14. The guys taking the picture, they actually ended up hitting the jet. Swear to God. And the backseater who was doing the videos and the pictures, he thought he had the camera on zoom, is what he said, as the jet got too big. Swear to God, folks, this is an iconic image of the F-14D carrying 6 Phoenixes. It ended up in those guys ejecting. I kid you not. But the reason I'm talking about this is we're going to talk about parabolic moves. It's called P sub S, sustained power, power sustained. P sub S equals 0. And so when we used to light the cans, light the afterburners at about 100 feet off the ocean. We'd get up to about, I don't know, 650, 700 knots, 700 miles per hour. And then we do a max sustained turn, which meant we didn't bleed any energy. And we'd bullseye the jet 90 degrees nose high like this. And we would just go. And we would just go. And we would just go until what? The sustained power went to 0. Why am I even talking about this? Well, would you look at that? When charts, stocks, emotions go parabolic, I promise you, folks, they will ultimately crash. Why? Well, everything in this three-dimensional holographic universe that we call life exists in a world of polarity and neutrality. And so when we go parabolic, the greed is just incredible, isn't it? It's crazy. Think about when Bitcoin took off. Actually, I have a little chart here of Bitcoin. So the only way to balance that greed of insanity is to what? Thump them hard with a crash, with a parabolic thump. And so from a physics perspective, this is what's happening, folks. Bam, we go till we cannot sustain it anymore. And then we have to crash. Pretty crazy. And what you can do is you can see here, this is a chart of Altria, MO, is I was able to calculate the gravity center is what it's called. And I was able to basically create the parabolic move using the arcs. See that? And so when I saw it, yes, Joe, I've been trying to calculate Lily. So Lily, Joe's mentioning how Lily's been parabolic. And I'm kind of like, this isn't good because they're actually trying to solve Alzheimer's. And everybody thinks they solved Alzheimer's, and they might have. I don't know. But if it's going parabolic, it will thump. So have they really solved Alzheimer's, folks? I'm just saying. And why do I say this? Well, let's get to the charts. So here's MO, update. This was way back 8 years ago, folks. And I was calculating it. And here's the 3 drives to a top. And this is the exact high, folks. And look at the timing. Remember, we talked about that with 4. Isn't it crazy? But when you look at MO, Look at that. See how it went parabolic? And did 3 drives to a top. That was the exact high. And then it thumped 60%. Ouch. So when you start looking at these parabolic charts, if you're a part of them, that's awesome. But here it is. Here's when. Thump. Crude oil. Holy smokes. Thump. Jacobs Engineering. Thump. The NASDAQ in the 2000. Thump. Bitcoin when it was finishing its third wave. And in fact, that's what the post was. If you want to go to Barts Charts, just type in the search pane parabolic. And I was showing how Bitcoin had gone parabolic and it was over, right? And in fact, I'd actually traded it pretty nicely on the third wave, and then I got out. But look, folks, I'm just trying to show it's all P sub S equals 0. I don't care if it's an F14 or it's a chart. Once it gets parabolic, don't get welded to it because it will fall out of the sky. It has to. It's physics. This was a fun one too, right? So Microsoft is the candles, and we've been parabolic on Microsoft. Tesla was parabolic. NVIDIA, if you guys remember that with the semiconductor index, I showed you the ABCD on that, went parabolic. And what happened? They all end up thumping. So those parabolic stocks that you're looking at, just be careful. And if you're long, don't be wedded to it. If it's going parabolic and topping out and P sub S, sustained power equals 0, take your profits. Be glad you got to run with it. Parabolic runs historically always end up crashing and burning. Do I know why they do? I have no idea. But remember Bitcoin, it fell like a stone. And guess what? A lot of the times they do recover. Where am I going with Altria? Folks, we got a short coming. Look at this one. Boom. So we had a parabolic move, take off, go crazy, drop 60%. And now we have one of the most beautiful sell patterns out there that you could ever look at. So between about 64 and 68, we've got to take a short on Altria MO. Short it, get the F out. I'd say above 69, quite frankly. Don't risk a lot. But Altria MO gets popping above that 618. You can see why it's stalled there now. It'll probably go up to about 64. And 64 to 68, we got to short it. Get out, I don't know, above 69. It's going to work or it's not, folks. But this is the first time I actually talked to Sean McLaughlin, our options expert. This is actually the first time that I've ever seen this. After a parabolic run up, you now have a perfect monthly Gartley sell. We got to take it, folks. All right. So that one's on my radar screen. Altria, short 64 to 68. How you liking them apples? Uber. This one's a pretty good one too, folks. This is a really good one. What we're trying to do, the only thing we're trying to do, folks, and the only thing I'm trying to do, and hopefully, thanks for everybody coming. I really appreciate it. All we're trying to do is manage risk. And so we try, or I try, to put as many different techniques together as possible to come up with a level. When I get a bunch of things that stack on top of each other, that tells me it's a good level. It's as simple as that. Let's check out Uber, folks. Boom. All right. So Uber weekly since inception. First thing I want you guys to look at is what? Over here on the right side. As you can see, it's pretty even. So we are not log scale yet. This is just your normal charting. And first thing is, big thing is, from this last all-time high here, what's that, about 55, 60 bucks? Bam, bam, 1.618 extension at 92.20. Love it. What else do we have? Measured move, This move from here to here is the blue arrow. This move from here, you can see that's probably 127, but this move here to here, looking good. Copy paste. It takes us right into that area. So we got 1, we got 2, 3. This is a 3 drives to a top. Drive 1, drive 2, drive 3. We have 3 reasons. This is a butterfly sell pattern. One of the most powerful patterns we have out there, folks. But this is a butterfly sell. 4. If that ain't enough, 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at this. Now we are on logarithmic scale. A, B, C, D. Exact percentage projection. All that, $92, folks. So, measure move, extension, 3 drives to a top, butterfly, ABCD, percentage-wise, work with me. Measured move. Do you see how we're building up a case for entry? And so all that means is we can really, really, really what? Manage risk at $92 on Uber. Manage risk how? If you're bullish and we gap and go, then I'd get long because this puppy could run. If you're bearish, you short it at $92, but get out about 94. Don't hold on to it long. I mean, we're really close. And we have a significant amount of mathematical patterns coming in at about 92, folks. So Uber is a short at 92. I'd get out above 94, and I'd be long above 94. But then I'll have to go back and really start looking at some targets, some higher targets, which we'll find. But right now, boy, this one looks tasty cakes, folks. Noman is asking about UNH and Google. I probably won't have time, but I will next week for sure, Noman. Okay, if I don't post it. But I got some really tasty steaks coming, you guys. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Take Two Interactive. So here's my going in proposition, folks. Obviously, I love doing this, and it gives me a platform to talk about a lot of other things besides charting, if you haven't noticed yet. But I get a lot of emails from you guys, and I encourage you to, and I want you to. I will always get back to you. I always will. The issue is I run a nonprofit for vets. Check out the supvets.org. Pledge some money if you want. By the way, once JC and I get this rolling as a business, some of the money that comes into this service will, in fact, go to the veterans. So I'm just telling you. Right now, we're still kind of negotiating that. It's probably 20, 30% will go to the veterans. And then I actually work as a business development professional in the biotech world. So I'm on the charts all the time, but I don't want to call it my hobby. I love it. I'm a chartered market technician. I'm a CTA. I've trained with everyone, but I'm just a long-term investor. And so I'm not day trading. I'm looking for the big moves. And so I love for you guys to email me because there's things I've never looked at before, like Take Two Interactive. So I got an email, hey, Bart, can you take a look at Take Two Interactive? I was like, yeah, sure. So, yeah, you got it, Noman. Hey, dude, shoot me an email, Bart at Barts Charts, and that'll remind me. And I'm going to be in Montreal all this week, you guys. If anybody lives in Montreal, let me know. Monday through Friday. But when I get back to the hotel at night or something, I can take a look at for you and post it, okay? And let me know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Noman, whatever it is. I'm Bart. It's all cool. So anyway, I love when you guys email into me because some of these things I've never looked at. Take Two Interactive. Never looked at it. Well, look at that. Let's take a look. I'm drawing your eyes to the red horizontal line. Okay. That's our line in the sand. For what? For starting what account? Also, folks, work with me. Love you guys and gals. My account is like my golf game. If Spencer asks me, what'd you get? And I come back 4, feel pretty good. I got a 4. If Spencer asks me what I got and I go and I turn around, I start counting, put me down for a 5. I probably got an 8. So when I have a Ray Charles count, like Ray Charles could see it, I'll be like, hey guys, this one looks pretty good. When I'm like, nah, I probably won't put a count up there. In this case, I'm putting a count up there. Why? Kind of looks pretty good, folks. So what was fascinating to me was Take-Two Interactive Software is gaming. I didn't even know. Work with me. But what effect is AI going to have on gaming? And so I don't know if you guys are following Riley with the team at Stock Market Media. He's such a good dude. And he's really, 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 he's seeing a major pivot occurring actually in transports. Like the Jetsons are coming. Did you know that the #1 cab service in Austin, Texas is driverless Ubers, folks? So anyway, I popped in this chart and I said, hey, is AI going to be the end to these gaming companies? And the reason I'm asking that is, let's come up here to the top now. I see 5 waves complete or in work. And we'll talk about that. So let's just do a little bit of Elliott wave. I'm sorry, but we've got to. Start from the low, up 1, A, B, C, down 2. Look at this. 1, 2, 3. There's A, there's B, there's C. That's called an expanded flat. 4, 5. That's our third wave. We got 1, 2, 3. We do A, B, C correction, wave 4. Guideline is wave 4 likes to go to the vicinity of the 3 to 4 correction of a lesser degree over here. Check. Up we go. Now, I can count this as a triangle. A, B, C, D, E. Boom. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 3, maybe a little pullback. And then off we go into 5. Now, I really like this upper target. That seems really aggressive. But ultimately, if you're long Take-Two Interactive, I would be looking to take profits if this top at wave 3 is ever taken out. Right now, that's 220. Because we're now in the realm of, hey, my count, I already told you I suck at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It could be done. So we are in a 5th wave. I feel pretty good about that. Why? 1, there's 3 rules. 1, 2 cannot go below the beginning of 1. Check. 3 cannot be what? The shortest wave. Check. Wave 4 cannot go below the end of wave 1. Check. All 3 rules have not been violated, which means this is a good count. Number 2 is we have the guideline of wave 4 correcting into what? The vicinity of the wave 4 of a lesser degree. It did. Folks, I'm really thinking we're in wave 5 of Take-Two Interactive Software. I would love for it to go up another $60. That seemed awful aggressive. But you're 1, 2, 7, right? And so there are other ways that I can draw targets, but I wanted to get this out to them. So I just I went through about this, but there's other targets, maybe in here is where it tops out. But folks, take a look. What am I missing on my wave count, right? Just being honest. Then the other thing is, look, from wave 2, right? Boom, boom, exact. So I did it here. We went through it, which is bullish, right? We took out the biggest measured move. So I made it 1.618. And it took us all up to here. I could do 127, and it would probably top us out at about what, 260s. So Take-Two Interactive Software, I'm telling you folks, I see 5 waves in work or completing. Hope that helps. All right, last slide. We're about 5 minutes before we used to be. Let's see what Noman said. You're bouncing tonight. Emily. Oh, thanks, man. And hey, man, hope all your family and everybody is okay with everything going on with Pakistan and India. When I was in the Navy, Noman, I actually spent 3 days in Karachi. It was awesome. I actually loved it, believe it or not. They said, don't eat any food. I'm like, I'm eating it all. And I did, and I didn't get sick. So thank you. Thanks for joining us too, dude. Be safe. All right. So folks, this book, Plato and the Quran, remember the last slide, I always try to drop something in there to blow your mind, right? Is one of the most powerful books I've ever read. And for my Muslim brothers and sisters that are out there, the Quran is packed with numerical codes. It'll blow your mind. And the reason I put this one in here, Plato and the Quran, by the way, this guy Noor Bosra, go look at the website. He does some videos. They're awesome. They really are. All of the major patriarchs, Noah, Abraham, right? He proves, without a doubt, that their ages in the Old Testament are planetary synodic cycles. No kidding. So Noah lived for 904 years. You had, like, I think it was Mars and Mercury together. It exactly equals 904 years. It's pretty amazing. So, and again, folks, remember what I told you is when I started down this path, I told my bride, I call her my ex-girlfriend now, my wife, 35 years, folks, 8 years dating in high school, 43 years we've been together. I said, I think the market's going to teach me who I am. This book, the Plato and the Quran, is like, if you ever want to train with me, I'll say, you need to go read that book. Yeah, it's an awesome book. There's a lot going on right now, folks. And so if you go back and you look at the last slide that I've done over the past 6 or 7 weeks, there's always something in there that's building to give you a clue of what's really going on. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that, folks. All right, let's take a look at this. Jeffrey, my dad during the time of the Shah, and I have his copy of the Quran from the time. Wow, no kidding. Get the book, Jeffrey. You'll love it. Joe says they're probably worried about you eating all the fiery spices from Karachi, Bart. Joe, that's funny. Hat tip. And you know what is good, though? I went in with a couple Brits, and I don't mind telling you guys, they're just like, hey, grab your toilet paper. It was during the winter. Grab your toilet paper roll and put it outside. And you're going to want it to be really, really cold in the morning. They were right, but I loved it. It was really cool. Here's the other thing, too. Noman, you just laugh. It's crazy. And I think I was off your coast. I think it was 2000, maybe. I forget what it was. 98, whatever, doesn't matter. But we had both the Pakistani delegation and the Indian delegation. And it was so funny because it's called the COD, Carrier On Board Delivery. So as the Indians are getting shot off, the COD with all the Pakistanis is landing on the carrier. So, we were obviously trying to be nice to both sides. So it's crazy. I'm glad. You're welcome. And I truly mean it, my friend. I really do. So anyway, let's go take a look at what's going on with the ES real quick. And then we got Mother's Day cruising in here in a little bit. So I'm going to want to take some time with my bride. All right. Boom. Everybody see that? And Oman, I'm glad everybody's safe, brother. I really am. So here we are, folks. Look at that. This is so awesome. So when I say we're there, we are there. I'm doing my projection from this point here. See that? And then all I do is I come up and put my projection right there. So that's what that is. Okay. And then I have I'm just looking for a triangle. Anyway, folks, what I'm doing here is our 1.618 extension. So we actually gapped higher tonight. I'm not sure why, folks. But what did we do? We gapped right into the zone. So tomorrow morning or tonight, whenever, or today, whatever you guys are waking up to, Oman over in Pakistan, that's the level we're watching, 57.74 to 58.21 on the ES. That's a short. Now, what does it mean? It means it could fail, right? So just what's your mindset? Are you bullish or are you bearish? But we have completed a 1.618 extension. But again, I really wanted to get up to 58.21 because that's where the projection goes, right? So, but you can see why now I'm telling you guys we're pretty much there, okay? 57.74 to 58.21, folks. So let's see here. I'm going to take a look at one thing real quick. All right, Wavy, let's take a look at utilities. I'll take a look at XLU. And let's go out there at all time. So we got to go long term. There we go. And then that's it, guys, for tonight. Just I got to get rolling. I want to get rolling. My bride's awesome. Have a good night. Sun's over. Okay. I had not seen this before, Wavy, but this sure looks like a 3 drive to a top. Let me remove 2 drawings. Look at this little guy here, 3 drives pattern. Drive 1. So it's probably going to be something like that. Oh, sorry. I see a 3 drives to a part, 3 drives to a top pattern, Wavy. There it is. There it is. Right there. So let's look for a top, Wavy, at 89.51. All right. That's a 3 drives to a top. UNH. Ooh, bam. That was ugly. Yeah, United Healthcare is looking ugly, isn't it? I'm going to have to spend a little bit more time on that one. No, Mom. And the reason I'm saying that is I'm looking at this structure right here. And I'm just trying to see if this move here is the last move, if that makes sense. Okay. Because here's see this 3-wave move. This is what we call correction, right? Hold on, I'll blow it up for you. Hold on. So this right here is a wave 1 down, wave 2 up. We say the market likes to correct in 3 waves. So there's your correction. And so what I'm trying to figure out is if this right here is the ending wave. Okay. Now, I like this. So let's do a quick projection. Maybe we can find some support for you. So I'm telling the computer I want to define here down to here, right? And then I want you to project from here. So that was the projection at 415. Smoke that. We can see that, right? So now we want to know where the 1.618 price projection is. And I'll just put it in here. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. So for now, I would expect some support about 296. All right. And then what I'm going to do is maybe that's like a 382. So let's see where this puppy. There we go. See what I'm doing? So now I'm going to put the retracement out there. I'm close enough for government work. Now, a lot of times what you can do, Noman, is you can go to Alt, or excuse me, I was going to do Alt-L, logarithmic. You can go to logarithmic scale. Why don't I do that? See the difference? And it'll really help you get the low. See that? Bam. So now I know that that is my low. And I can go up to here. Man, I already went to 382. Oops. There we go. All right. Now we're looking good. So now I'm going to go back to normal. Alt-L. And now we can see that that was off, wasn't it? There we go. And then see this little guy right here? I like that. So So I'm going to do this guy. I didn't finish it all the way. Hold on. There we go. So, boom. No. There we go. So it looks like we got a nice little boom. You see that? There we go. There, come to Papa. So it certainly looks like support for UNH. I'm going to say 300 to 317 bucks right now. 296 being the price projection, but I can tighten that up. Okay. All right, folks. All right. How much is purely technical on UNH when you consider the CEO killing in December and unfriendly admin for the healthcare? How does that play into technical analysis? Jeff, that's a great question. Look, I don't know, right? But I will tell you that I don't pay attention to any fundamentals. I just look at price and time. And I truly believe, after doing this for 24 years, that the chart tells us everything we need to know, and that the patterns appear. And we try to find the greatest level we can for the patterns. And if they work, they work. If they don't, they don't. So I don't pay any attention to it. Now, could that have something to do with the amount of sell-off that's occurring right now with United Health? Sure, for sure. But at the top, and as these patterns are developing, I really don't pay attention to it. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't. So I just look for the levels. Right now, it looks like 315 to 317 is a really nice level. Why? We have two overlapping Fibonacci levels. We have a 1.618 price projection. I know, here, let's just do one more thing, and then I got to go, guys. What I'm doing here is I want to see the largest corrective move, right? And it's this one right here. So it's this one there. And now what'll be crazy is, now I'm just going to copy it. About the same. And this one actually goes a lot lower. That one takes all the way down to 100 bucks. So let's just concentrate on 315 for now, Naman, right? So that was a good question. So let's go back to the ES. All right. Sure looks like it wants to go higher, doesn't it? On the monthly? Sure does. But we've got our line in the sand, folks. And we are oh, that's not ES. I want ES. There we go. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Sorry about that. So we're pretty much there, folks. Let's see what happens over the next 2 or 3 days. But if this market's going down, this is the level. All right. All right, Jeff. Thanks, you guys. Our man Higgins. I like that. Just like William Gibson's character calling Lane and Shinju Station. You got to email me on that one. I'm not familiar with that one. You guys are great. And, man, I really appreciate you showing up, especially on Mother's Day night. So everyone have a great night. Hopefully you gave your mom a lot of love. And we will see you next week. Email me, bart@bartscharts.com. This is a lot of fun. I love you guys and gals. And that's all she wrote.